was diagnosed a year ago, September, and I'll never forget the first words my doctor said to me. He goes, "Don't worry, Steve. Almost no one dies from this anymore." Now, I won't lie. I was very apprehensive. In fact, there were probably times where I could use the word scare, and I'll tell you why. Because we all grow up, with friends and family over the years who have gotten cancer and have gotten chemo, and they lose their hair, they lose weight, they look dead, and it can be a pretty frightening thing. Well, lo and behold, my oncologist tells me uh, they've made so many great advancements in cancer treatment and chemotherapy over the years, the last 15 years in particular, that I wasn't going to lose my hair. I may or may not lose some weight. There's variables there. And I may or may not get sick. So, there was some good news there, glass half full. In any case, I was still very apprehensive. I mean, it is what it is. It's chemotherapy. And there's really not a lot of good you can put on that. So, leading up to my first treatment, I flashed back to a friend of mine in California who had sent me a photo a few years back of him wearing clown shoes. And he said, "Steve, you cannot be in a bad mood wearing clown shoes." So, about 2 weeks leading up to my first chemo treatment, I went on Amazon.com and started looking for clown shoes. I found a really lovely pair. Let me show them to you, Dave.
Yeah.
These are pretty styling right here. Can you see them? So I took the shoes in a bag to my first, along with a book, because the treatment was 4.5 hours. And I took them in a bag and sat them next to me when I sat in the chair at the clinic. And the nurse did a little dress work on my IV on my arm. And she goes, "Okay, let's hook you up." So I said, at the last second, I had just this little bit of hesitation. I'm in a clinic with 6 or 8 other people who are receiving chemotherapy. Nobody's happy. It's just not that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I had a little hesitation. And then at the last second, and I'm not an overly religious guy, I have my beliefs, but it kind of felt like God tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Steve, bust out the clown shoes." So I took them out, put them on, and I mean, instantaneously, the nurse started laughing out loud. She starts calling over the other nurses. They're laughing. I looked around the clinic and noticed that one guy was laughing hysterically, and some of the other women had big smiles on their faces. So I realized at that second that not only was this doing some good for me, but it just lit up the whole clinic. Everybody all of a sudden was, in this happy, smiling mood, and
Beautiful.
it was meant to be.
Yeah.
And so I wore the shoes for the whole 4 hours, and they also give you a lot of liquid, so you got to go to the bathroom a lot during the treatment. You unplug yourself and walk into the bathroom.
Did you go flip flop, pitter patter?
Yeah. That was when I discovered the downside of clown shoes. You have to walk very, very carefully.
But they must have been laughing even more at that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So it's gotten to the point now. I actually I had a short treatment a few weeks ago, only an hour. So I left the shoes in my truck, and when I got into the clinic, one of the other patients looked over and says, "Where's your shoes?" I said, "Oh, I left them in the truck." Guy says, "I wanted to take a picture of those and send it to all my friends." He goes, "I just think this is the greatest thing in the world." So I've brought them ever since. Every treatment after that, I've worn them, and it's really been just a great experience. I mean, when I put them on, all these people, we're all in the same boat to one degree or another, and everybody smiles. The nurses walk by and pinch the end of my shoes, and it just, I realized all of a sudden this isn't just about me; it's about all of us.
Yeah.
And it did give me a very good feeling. And I told the nurse last week, I said, my last treatment's April 3rd. So when I'm done, I'm going to leave these shoes here with you guys. And I said, if you have a patient that comes in who's never gotten chemo before and they're apprehensive or nervous or scared, bust out the clown shoes. And they said that was a great idea, and they had every intention of doing just that. So it really, these little clown shoes, and I got to tell you, Dave, it's not just for chemo. I mean, I'll sit around the house sometime, and if I start getting a little down, I'll throw on the clown shoes. You can't beat it. So that's pretty much my whole story on the clown shoes, and it just turned out to be such a wonderful thing. Not just for me, but for everybody involved, and it's something I'll never forget. That's for sure.